Well, talk about a self-ambitious movie. Hey guys, and welcome to my new movie review for Snake Eyes G.I. Joe. Now, those of you who don't know, this is technically the third movie in this franchise, but it's kind of a reboot to the franchise because there has already been two G.I. Joe films that were very old and I think they were massive flops. Anyway, guys, those of you who are new to my channel, it's so good for you to be here. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for clicking on this link for Snake Eyes G.I. Joe. I'm going to give you all my thoughts and everything like that you need to know from me and my personal view on this movie right after we roll this intro, the synopsis, the director, and all the other good stuff that comes along with it. But first of all, guys, I just wanted to say, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and leave a thumbs up on this review. Thank you so much for that. And if you're new to my channel, this is absolutely incredibly warm. Yes, welcome to my movie review. Like I said, without further ado, guys, let's roll that in. First off, we have the amazing Henry Golding as Snake Eyes, and Henry Golding was also in Crazy Rich Asians as Nick Young, and also Last Christmas as Tom, and now in the new movie Snake Eyes in Snake Eyes G.I. Joe. We also have Andrew Koji as Storm Shadow, and Samara Weaving as Scarlet, and Ursula Corborough as the Baroness. And the director of Snake Eyes G.I. Joe, we have Robert Schwenkt. 2021. Rated PG. And Snake Eyes genre for this film is an action, adventure, fantasy, sci-fi thriller movie. Snake Eyes synopsis. A G.I. Joe spin-off centered around the character Snake. So I have a lot to say about this film, and I'm going to start with this. The opening sequences of the action sequences in this movie, and not the very, very opening of the movie, because that's it's a father-son relationship between two characters. But the part of the movie that really threw me off, and I mean really threw me off straight off the bat, was actually the shaky cam in the action sequences. That really bugged me. I mean, really. I found it frustrating. It's almost like they intentionally did that so that we would see or wouldn't see that what was happening in front of us was actually just stuntmen and just them flipping around and doing tricks and stuff. And so in the overall big scheme of the movie, that element of it was just very frustrating for me as an audience member, and it just bugged me from word go. So yeah, there's a scene that follows on after that a little bit, and it's actually, I called it the sword truck scene. That was absolutely ridiculous, and I mean absolutely ridiculous, and it actually pays homage to, like, not ventriloquists but musicians and magicians. And when you see that scene in this movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's one word that I can describe this movie in a nutshell realistically, and that is very ambitious. Like, really ambitious. This movie thinks a lot of itself, but unfortunately it doesn't follow through with a lot of itself. But I'll continue giving my thoughts and other scenes that I thought were just like meh in this movie. An actual actor in this movie that I found really unbelievably freaky was actually the blind guy. Man alive, his eyes were freaky, far out. And there's just so many ambitious characters in this movie. They just so want to be something without actually being something. And I know it's supposed to be, you know, a fun film to go and watch and be entertained and stuff like that. But I just thought it just felt like it was too much of what they didn't have. And it was almost like they were trying to develop people and their abilities in this movie that they just had without not actually having anything, and it's so weird. But that guy, the blind guy's eyes, oh man, super creepy. On a brighter note, guys, the water bowl scene had an incredibly powerful message behind it. I was very, very, very surprised at the outcome of what that scene had to bring us as an audience member, because they made it seem like it was something, but it actually turned out to be something else. And how it ended up being was really, really powerful. It had an absolutely incredible message behind it, and I really valued it, honestly. As an audience member, I really thought that it was unbelievably executed with how it eventuated. Unfortunately, a scene in this movie, guys, that really confused me, that made me go, huh? What? Was actually the sauna scene. The characters, exchange dialogue, and you think he's there to wreak havoc or go and find the bad guy and do stuff to him, whatever. But then what it ends up being wasn't at all. And I was like, wait, what? I don't get it. And honestly, that sauna scene completely threw me off. And it didn't captivate me more for me to want to watch more of the movie. If anything, it made me go, wait, I don't get, wait, why are you, huh? Yeah, anyway. And just before I go on, guys, I just want to let you go, there is a post-credit scene, but it's like 2 seconds after they roll the credit thing. They roll a bit of the credits and just say who directed the film and stuff like that, and then there's another scene after that. So it's not like right after the credits completely end. So there's a scene in this movie, I'm going to call it the digital projector scene. And when you see the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And those of you who have seen the movie, the digital projector scene, how out of place did that feel in this movie? Because of the fact that their surroundings was so simple and so not what that was for the rest of the film. And it just was like, wait, what? Like, what? Huh? It just made no sense to me, like, at all. In fact, there was a sequence, again, further on down the movie, again, where I was like, wait, what? How have they all of a sudden got that where they are? And they felt like they felt like the scenery made it feel like, to me, that they were in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, what am I watching? Like, where did that come from? How did they all of a sudden become a secret spy agent? But anyway, so I'm not going to give this away, guys, because for anyone who's been following my channel for any period of time, I don't do spoilers in my movie reviews, but I'm going to say this. There's a character in this movie, a female character, and her accent literally changed throughout the movie. Yeah. Literally. And I wasn't even trying to find it. It was so obvious. I was like, man, that's bad. Like, that's really bad. That's like bad. And it just threw me off. I kept thinking to myself, well, are you this or are you this? Or are you, like, I get obviously that people speak multiple nationalities and languages, and, no disrespect or anything, but to do with the character of the movie, it just made no sense. But I mean, maybe that was the character of how she speaks in, the element of her character. But to me, to do with the film, it was just weird. The wallless elevator scene was pretty sick. I actually really appreciated that. It was so simple, so simple, and yet it was really cool. It was probably, for me, one of the highlights of this movie. And just the way it was just really, really cool. How the camera execution of it just followed him and stuff like that. I really appreciated that scene, and I just thought it was really fun. So there are, unfortunately, a significant amount of WTF moments in this movie, and there's like a secret base part in this movie, and that's the best way I can describe it to you. They're hiding something in this movie. They're hiding something very specific and very unbelievably small and insignificant that just happens to have something to do with it that really turns the movie on its head and sort of thing. But I tell you now what, guys, I was like, what? What? Are you serious? Like, it just felt so out of place. Like, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are really going to enjoy this film, and that's awesome. Like, all film is subjective, and I don't ever throw shade on people that enjoy films like this. But when you see a film like this, and you're like, it's one of those films that I never have to ever watch again, because it is what it is. Like, it's just all laid out for you. And for those of you who've been following my channel for any period of time, you know exactly what I'm about to say next on my next point. Yeah, that's exactly right. Does Snake Eyes G.I. Joe have in its core element the thing, it's an essential thing that needs it to be film? For us as an audience member, no matter how ambitious it's trying to be, to go back days, months, years later, centuries, and rewatch it, and I like to call it, my humble personal opinion, guys, rewatchability, guys. Does Snake Eyes have rewatchability? In my personal opinion, I'm glad I saw this movie once, because I do not need to see it again. No matter how amazing the actors and the cast was in this film, this did not land for me. Anyway, guys, so I want to talk about the cave scene. Guys, if you have a fear or a phobia to any degree at all of snakes, one, why are you watching a film that's called Snake Eyes anyway? But two, there is actually a sequence in this movie to do with snakes. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you have a phobia of snakes, you've been warned right now on my channel, right here, right now. Don't go and watch this movie. Seriously, don't go and see it. If you have a fear of snakes to any degree at all, this movie is definitely not for you. There is a scene in this movie to do with the main two characters and swords. It's heading towards the end of the film, and they do something relating to blood. But how he uses the blood in this movie is actually really clever. Like, what he does to the blood and the outcome of that, I actually thought that was really clever. Like, it was just a really clever way of using something as an element to actually bring the story forward a little bit more, and it really worked. And sadly, I will say this, guys, the motorbike sequence towards the end of the film was realistically, unfortunately, the highlight of this movie. Like, really. And probably one other thing, and I'll mention that in a minute, but the motorbike sequences was actually the highlight. Like, sadly, that's just what it is. And it is what it is, guys. The dust bomb explosion was actually a really cool trickery effect. But in saying that, it was just so few and far between that it just wasn't, nothing gripped me. Nothing gripped me in this film to make me as an audience member want to be like really captivated and be like, oh God, you know, I want more of this. Like, honestly, there wasn't enough. The storyline didn't grip me enough as an audience member to make me want to even watch this ever again. So in summary, guys, I have to say, in my personal opinion, this is not a great film. In my humble personal opinion, all film is subjective, guys. Don't get me wrong. You might go out and watch this film and think this film is absolutely amazing and have an absolute time of your lives. And hey, guys, that's awesome. That's seriously awesome. So without further ado, guys, anyone who has been following my personal YouTube channel for any period of time, you guys know that I like to end my movie reviews with a bit of trivia. Because in my personal opinion, guys, trivia in a movie review is kind of like icing on a cake, guys. So guess what time it is? That's right, time. It's trivia time! The movie is a reboot of the G.I. Joe properties on film and intended to be part of the shared universe of features based on Hasbro properties with G.I. Joe, Ever Vigilant, Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light, Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command, ROM, Space Knight, and Micronauts. Asian American writer Larry Hama, who is instrumental in developing the character of Snake Eyes, addressed the movie race-swapping issue with the casting of Asian actor Henry Golding. Some people are saying that casting Golding fixes the character of Snake Eyes, but I disagree. I had wanted to keep him ambiguous until Hasbro introduced Storm Shadow as the only Asian character and made him a bad guy. I decided to fix it by delving into the background and gradually turning him into a good guy. This is why Snake Eyes is a white guy. Andrew Koji hated the two G.I. Joe films in an interview, saying, "I thought about playing the character Storm Shadow because I didn't like the first two films. I can say that. I'm allowed to not like a film. So I was hesitant at first to even accept that. That's a big studio film and my first role in a big studio film. So I was very hesitant because I didn't have the trust in Hollywood to do that. What Warrior taught me and the voice that it gave me helped my work in Storm Shadow. I don't want to play a character with six-pack. I wanted him to be human and flawed. He's going through stuff. For me, when I saw G.I. Joe film, I was like, I don't want to do that. That's not the kind of thing that I want to do." The film originally replaced G.I. Joe Ever Vigilant, release date 27th of March 2020, but was later pushed back to the 16th of October 2020, which was the original release date for Micronauts, but was postponed to the 22nd of October 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but it was later moved up to the 23rd of July 2021. Snake Eyes will be changed from a Caucasian character seen from the comics animated series, and both of the live-action films to be mixed-race characters due to Henry Golding, who is both English and Malaysian. Samara Weaving is the niece of Hugo Weaving, who voiced the Megatron in Michael Bay's first three Transformers live-action movies, also based on Hasbro properties. It was announced by producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventure that Ray Park won't be reprising his role as Snake Eyes in the spin-off. Simon Waters, who oversees consumer products for Hasbro Studios, said the company wants to take a more millennial approach. As he explains, the world has changed, and I think you're going to see G.I. Joe changing with it, he said. There's going to be a much more contemporary approach to the whole franchise, and that will allow us to develop different characters. There you have it, guys. There's a bit of trivia. I hope you appreciate it. Did you learn something new about this movie, about a bit of behind-the-scenes stuff, just like I did? I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for clicking this link, guys, for Snake Eyes G.I. Joe. Guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't already, like I said at the beginning, go ahead and subscribe. Click my face right here. I appreciate your time. And don't forget who's bringing this movie review for Snake Eyes G.I. Joe. Guys, this is Superman Steve. Appreciating your time and loving you always. Flying out!